Hey folks, so Jayce and I are both over 21 and everything we are doing is legal in Chicago. Please drink responsibly. You're kidding.
You're kidding. Do you want me to turn off the light?
Yes, please. Please turn off the lights. That was beautiful.
Sorry. That was kind of gross. Have I ever burped in front of you before?
I don't think so. I was about to say, I think that was a milestone.
I burp a lot, dude. In private.
Oh, me too. I burp in front of you all the time.
I'm a private burper, but today.
Not me. And you know why I'm not? Because my mom always shames me when I burp. So this is me burping in front of her.
My family, my mom, when growing up, my mom would always be like, I hate that, stop it. But my dad would be like give us a score or like high five us if we had a good burp at dinner or something.
Listen, burping is good for you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, gets the bubbles out.
Oh.
So, welcome to Your Kidding.
Welcome to Your Kidding. A podcast about nothing.
Yes, we are under the influence.
No, we do not know what we're talking about.
My name is Maddison, and my pronouns are she, her.
And my name is Jayce, and my pronouns are they, them.
And this is my dog, Robin, and her pronouns are she, her. And she is really trying to get under my arms while I look at my laptop right now. But it's okay. She's just trying to take a nap. Okay, so I wasn't sure about doing another murder this soon, but I'm going to because I think it's just so interesting. And this is one that I have researched a lot and know a lot about. Actually, because there is a musical called Mrs. Sharp, and it's by Ryan Scott Oliver, who I really like. And I found this song from it that is called Out of My Mind. I almost forgot it. And it's based off of like a real life murder, but like the names are changed. And it's based off the same murder that the Nicole Kidman movie To Die For is based off of.
Oh.
I don't know if you know.
Yeah.
Basically, a hot teacher gets has an affair with a student. Yeah.
So we're 2 for 2 with the murder musicals.
Yeah. And I love that. I love a good murder musical, and there is not enough of them. There's like barely any.
Yeah.
So I need to know about the ones that there are.
And so do you.
Yeah, and so
that's
do
why
you,
we're here.
And that is why I'll be talking about it. So, okay. This is also the first murder trial to ever be televised. Televised from gavel to gavel. That's like the biggest thing from like the entire thing. Because technically Ted Bundy was before this, but I guess there like was stuff that wasn't aired. Mm-hmm. And yes, I have watched the entire trial on YouTube.
Oh my gosh, how long is it?
Long.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
It's really long. This shirt will not stay buttoned, so it's just gonna stay unbuttoned.
It's okay.
Okay.
That's all right, Madison.
I have this like Ryland vintage like button-up shirt on, and it's very silky, and the buttons just keep falling out.
And it's very cute.
Thank you. It's got
You're welcome.
Leopards on it.
Yeah, I love it.
It's almost like a Hawaiian shirt, but leopards.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Got some zebra stripes too.
Yeah, it's pretty sick. We got some flowers. I got it at the vintage shop in Roscoe Village.
Yeah.
Like Shangri Lee or something like that. I don't know. It's amazing. Anyway, so this is about Pamela Smart.
Anderson. Oh.
Well. Okay, so here's the tea. I got most of this from there's a 2020 episode. I've also watched the entire trial, so I got that. There's some Murderpedia, the Washington Post, regular Wikipedia, did I say that? Yeah. Bunch of different documentaries. I got this information from all sorts of places. So take this at what you will. I'm not saying it's going to be all rewrite, but I did my best. I think it's pretty good.
I like the 2020 series.
Oh my God.
I haven't seen
me too.
I haven't seen the specific episode, but
yeah.
I can attest to.
I think it's actually a newer one.
Very cool.
I don't know if that is true.
I don't know either, so could be anything.
It looks like it came out in 2020. So yeah, even though this happened a long time ago. Anyway, so I thought that I knew a lot about this, and then I watched the 2020, and there was like so many little details that were like way different than I remembered. And I don't know if it's because like a lot of people misreport it, which they do, which I'll talk about, but I don't know. Anyway, so Pamela Smart was born in 1967, and she grew up in New Hampshire and Florida. Like she moved there when she was young. Her family was like super chill. Her dad was a pilot, and she had a bunch of friends. Her mom describes her as happy-go-lucky. And eventually, when she grew up, she went to Florida State U, where she studied communications and hosted 2 college radio programs. One was a rock station, and her DJ name was Maiden of Metal.
That's kind of sick.
Yeah. She wanted to be in the media, and she said she wanted to be like the next Barbara Walters. I have some pictures of her when she was younger. This is her. That's her as a kid. This is obviously her in like college, but there wasn't a lot available in between those years. But yeah, that's her.
All right.
So in 1986, she went home on Christmas break from college, and she met Greg Smart, who was 2 years older than her. And they eventually got married 2 years later. And once Pam finished school, they moved to Derry, New Hampshire, together. Everyone talks about how passionate their relationship is, how happy they look, how in love they are, like all that stuff. And this is them. Oop, that's them.
He a ginger?
No, I think it's just like a saturated picture. I think that's more accurate color-wise.
Cute.
Yeah.
Well, I
cute.
guess not. This is about a murderer, right?
It is about a murderer. Okay, anyway, we'll get there. Okay, so there's lots of articles and episodes about this, and I think the Snapped episode talks about this too, but it's been a long time since I've seen it. That they shared this love for heavy metal music, and they talk about it a lot, and it's like they try to make it like they listen to rock music, so they're evil.
Oh my god.
I feel like they really try to push the whole narrative that it's like it's heavy metal music, so these people are obviously like a little crazy. And it's like, okay, that is so stupid.
Yeah.
So I'm just mentioning that for the sake of mentioning it, but I don't believe that. Anyway, so after they get married, Pam becomes a media liaison for all the public schools in the area. This is one of those things that like gets misreported a lot. A lot of people just say she was a teacher. But whatever. Anyway, so one of those schools was Winnicott High School as their media coordinator, which I think is like an AV club leader kind of a thing. I'm not really
sure. I don't know either.
And I tried to look into it more, but that's pretty much what I got from it. So I hope that's right. And Greg becomes an insurance dude. And just 7 months after they get married and move to Derry, they already start having like marriage troubles. And they don't really see each other much anymore. And then Greg admits to Pam that he had an affair.
Bum.
No.
That sucks.
So she's obviously crushed by that, obviously.
So is she going to kill him?
And says this is when she realized it was possible that someone could come in between them, and it made her less trustworthy of him. So she finds friends elsewhere and teenagers at the school she works at. She is 22, I will say.
Well.
Not justifying at all. I'm just saying that's how old she is. So at Winnicott High School, the same one that I mentioned before, she meets Billy Flynn, William or Billy Flynn. They're both volunteering for this project called Project Self-Esteem. And it was like this local drug awareness program at the high school. And guess what they bonded over? Their love for heavy metal music.
Oh my god.
And Pam also met another intern there named Cecilia Pierce, who was also friends with Billy Flynn, and then they all like become friends. Okay, so I'm gonna like say what happened murder wise, and then like backtrack with like more details.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good to me. I'm ready.
So
All right.
May 1st, 1990. It's 6 days before their 1-year wedding anniversary. It's 10 p.m. and Pam comes home from work and finds the place ransacked and her husband dead in like the doorway of their home.
Oh.
Yeah. And he's just right there. Also, fun fact, you can rent and own this place still. Here it is this is Hot Pads. I found it on Zillow before. This is it.
Wow.
They don't say anything about it in the description about how there was a dead man. You know how Lizzie Borden's is a bed and breakfast? Well, this is just a regular ass house.
Have they like updated it since like
It looks like it's like a
Yeah.
little newer. I mean, it was only 1990, you know.
Oh, true.
So-
I guess I was thinking about the 1800s, and I literally saw the pictures that were literally in color. I don't know why.
Do you want to see a picture?
Of the dead person.
You can not see.
Yeah, I
anything.
want to see it.
You
Yeah.
do? Okay, so this is him.
Oh my God. Hey, sisters.
Hey, sisters. So that's him.
Good to see you.
So anyway, so she comes home from work. She sees that. She starts like screaming and yelling for help, all these things. The neighbors come and they help her and they call the police. Everyone who saw her that night says that she was an absolute wreck, like completely distraught, sobbing, like everything.
Yeah.
At first, the police think that it's a disrupted burglary because he was still wearing his work clothes. So it was like he must have like just come in from work and someone killed him, kind of a thing. But it doesn't take them too long to figure out that that's probably not what happened because there wasn't really anything taken, including his wallet. Like, why wouldn't you take that? Anyway. Also, there was no evidence of forced entry, and he was shot execution style.
Oh shit. That's kind of intense, huh?
Yeah, like super weird. So after days and weeks of like no new information, some guy goes to the police, gives them a gun, and says, "I think that this was the murder weapon of Greg Smart." Hello, sir. What? How do you know that? So Vance Latamie Sr. told them that he had this gun and he went to go get it and it looked like it had been cleaned, but he hadn't cleaned it. But he had sons, multiple. I don't know. He has at least one son. And his son's friend, Ralph Welch, tells him that he thinks it might have been used to kill Greg Smart. And it was. So the police are like, why? How did you know that? Like, what? So Ralph tells them everything that he knows. His friends told him about how they all killed Greg.
What?
And these teenagers are Patrick or Pete Randall, Vince Latamie Jr., and Billy Flynn. This is them.
Was one of them the one that she was like?
I don't know. We'll have to
Wait,
get
I want to
there.
look at them again. I didn't get a
Okay,
good look
this
at
is them. That's Billy Flynn, Pete, and Vance.
Wow.
And his dad is the one that was like, this gun I have is like, yeah. So like he stole it from his dad.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Do they go to jail?
Guess we'll find out. So, these were kids that the cops were like really familiar with. They all had records. Vance apparently waited in the getaway car while Pete and Billy staged a burglary and then killed Greg. And they claimed it was to get insurance money from Pam, $500 apiece. And this is the first time that Pam's name is brought up, like possibility of like real evidence against her. So a week after the murder, she did a TV interview and the police were like a little sus of that because she didn't break down enough for them, I guess. and knew some things that she couldn't have known, like what the crime scene looked like. Okay, this is what the article said, but she was the one who walked in and found him. So I don't know what they mean by like she wouldn't have known what the crime scene looked like. Like she was the one who found him.
Yeah, that doesn't really make any sense.
So
to me, at least.
But that's what I like read, that like that's literally what the police said, that's why it didn't make sense. And I was like, okay, but
yeah,
that doesn't make sense to me. So and the police definitely weren't keeping her totally in the dark, at least not right away, you know. But anyway, so Pam says to this day that this interviewer was calling her every single day, the person who like did this interview, saying that if you don't come interview with us, we're going to run a story about how Greg is in a lot of gambling debt from Atlantic City, because they went there a lot and gambled, but they like weren't in any debt. And he was like, so come talk to me or we're like going to slander this dead guy. So she did talk to them.
Oh my God. Can you do anything about that?
So she could tell people what he was really like. But
can you go to someone about that? Like, hey, got this weird letter from the news.
Well, it was all calls, I believe. And he claims the opposite. He claims that she called her, or she called him every day and was like begging to interview. So we don't know what's true.
That sucks.
Yeah. So all they have against her is like circumstantial stuff. So they can't really do much until they find out about the project she was working on at Winnicott High School with those 3 boys, the Project Self-Esteem thing I talked about.
Mm-hmm.
And it's where, it's like a anti-drug thing and tries to like help kids with personal issues, self-esteem. Anyway, so within this project, they start working on a commercial, and for some sorry, I typed this out and it didn't make any sense. So the project that they're working on is a commercial, and Pam found some like competition to enter it into, basically.
Oh, okay, cool.
And it's an orange juice commercial, and
right.
Billy Flynn is the cameraman and also writes the music and I think plays it. I'm not sure about that, for the commercial. And if you remember, I said before, I said she found a friendship in these teenagers. Well,
yeah,
her and Billy,
they were fucking. Can I see a picture of him again?
Yeah, he was 16 and she was 22. This is him.
Billy with the mullet.
Billy with the mullet.
Oh,
Billy
God.
Flynn from Chicago the Musical.
Oh.
One of the other people are friends with her and working with her was Cecilia Pierce. Now jumping like forward really quick after the murder, the case is at a standstill, right?
Wait, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
So at this point, are we supposed to think that it's like she's in cahoots with the boys and killed her husband for money? Is that what we're thinking? Or to get rid of the...
I mean, we're kind of gonna get there.
Okay, I just want to know what I'm assuming.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so the murder has happened, whatever. The case is at a standstill, and then the cops get an anonymous tip saying that Cecilia knows about everything and how Pam is behind everything. So they call in Cecilia, and they're like, what up, Cecilia? And she's like, okay, so Pam told me that she's in love with Bill. And they're all like, She also tells the police that one night the 3 of them were all staying at the same place because of like a school trip, maybe for like the competition or something. I'm not really sure why they were there, but they were all watching a movie together. And Pam said that, and Cecilia said that Pam and Billy went off to have sex, and then Cecilia caught them.
Oh my God.
And then guess what? In the interview, she tells them that she overheard about the plot to murder Greg, Pam's husband. So the police are finally like, oh, we could actually get something against Pamela. Like we're starting to get some, evidence. So they wire Cecilia and they send her to go speak to Pamela, hoping that she'll say something incriminating. And this is that. Hang on. So,
oh my God.
43:15.
I'm excited.
Cecilia tells Pam that the cops have called her in for questioning about the murder.
Pretty much, they established that, yeah, you had great help. Why, though? Like, because they can't think of any other reason why Bill and them would do it. Yeah, but even if I asked somebody to kill somebody, you have to be deranged to say, okay, I will. You know what I mean? Whether someone asks you to or not. As far as I can see it, Bill did it because he loved you.
She doesn't break into tears. She doesn't deny it. Nothing. That's very telling.
Let me tell you how out of whack I was, okay? The day before this, I had a lawyer, and he calls me up and he says, whatever you do, don't talk to her, because she's coming in and she's going to be wired.
That's an astonishing admission. She says her lawyer warned her. Cecilia's dangerous. She could be wearing a wire if you talk to her, and yet she still does.
I'm afraid one day you're going to come in here and you're going to be wired. Set up with a bus is. Give me some signals that have ever come down to me and you're wired, that you're going to give me.
Why would you need that?
Oh my God.
If, in fact, you did have nothing to do with it and you weren't part of all of this.
Now remember, Cecilia acknowledges that she knew in advance about the murder. And that's when Pam issues what seems like an ominous warning.
I'm just sick of lying, you know. Well, I'm just telling you that if you tell the truth, it's going to be accessory to murder. Right? Now you know you're going to be on the witness stand. And they're just going to put you on that, and I'm going to say, did you know? And you're going to say no. Did Pam do this? No. If you tell the truth, you're probably going to be arrested.
Pam is really concerned about Cecilia now. So she's...
Yikes on that. So the wire becomes the most damning piece of evidence.
Yeah.
And it leads to her arrest on August 1st, 1990, 3 months after the murder. And she was charged with accomplice to first-degree murder. And also, like, witness tampering, I believe, because she told her, like, to lie on the stand when they called her up. Now, all the police know is what Cecilia told them. The three boys had not given up Pam at all yet. Well, besides being like, we were going to get some money. Oh, wait. No, I think Cecilia was actually, I don't know. I said it already. I said it already.
So you should
So
know.
you should know. But I'm not going to look back. So when so the three boys hadn't given up Pam yet, but then the police are like, okay, we're going to try you as adults for murder then. So
Is
then
that legal?
all of a sudden,
Can you do that?
Oh yeah, it's happened before.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I feel bad. I kind of feel bad for him because I feel like he's being manipulated.
Well,
because
yeah,
they were
that's kind of the
fucking
thing.
And he's a child. And
So all of a sudden now after that, it was all Pam's idea. Because they're like, we don't want to be tried as adults for murder.
yeah.
And or because Pam actually, it was her idea. I don't know. Anyway, so they say that Pam convinced them to kill her husband so that Billy Flynn and Pam's relationship could continue. They also claimed that they were getting $500 each from the $140,000 life insurance policy that Pam was going to get for Greg. Pam says that that's ridiculous because she had a great job and supported herself already and didn't need that money, but who knows? Anyway, so now the question is, did she really mastermind it, or did they decide to blame her, when they found out how heavy the charges were going to be? Who knows, really, So the trial, like I said before, was like one of the first televised murder trials ever. It was huge, right up there with Ted Bundy. I think it was the first like female murder trial kind of a thing, but don't quote me on that.
Ooh, Girlboss, Gatekeep. What is it?
Girlboss, Gatekeep. You said.
Have you seen that on TikTok?
Oh, of
It's like something Gatekeep, Girlboss.
It's
Gaslight,
Gaslight,
Gatekeep, Girlboss.
Jesus, I mean a little bit. So people literally treated this like a soap opera, like it was their thing every day. It was 1990. Like I said, I watched the entire thing. But because of that, people started to treat it like it wasn't real life, Anyway, so the prosecution's case relied heavily on testimony from all of like the kids, like all the teenagers, the boys, and Cecilia. But the boys had all already secured their plea bargains before the trial even started because they had all this information against Pam. So oral arguments began on March 4th, 1991. The Assistant Attorney General portrayed the teenagers as naive victims of an evil woman bent on murder, and the prosecution portrayed Pam as the cold-blooded mastermind who controlled her, this says, underage sex partner. That's what they said a bunch of times. This is me. Okay.
I mean, it's kind of the truth.
Yeah. And the Assistant Attorney General claimed that Smart seduced Flynn to get him to murder her husband so that she could avoid an expensive divorce and benefit from the $140,000 life insurance policy. In her testimony, Smart acknowledged that she had what she said was an affair with the underage boy, but claimed that the murder of her husband was solely his doing. She had nothing, like, she didn't tell him to do it. And it was a reaction because she said that she wanted to try to repair her marriage and end the relationship with Billy Flynn. She insisted that she didn't participate or have any, like, foreknowledge of it. Also, I just learned this when I was watching something or reading something else about it. So the jury wasn't sequestered until the second day of deliberations. And it later came out that one of the jurors was making tape recordings at night about her thoughts on the trial, which is, like, illegal. The witnesses weren't sequestered either. And Flynn and the other two boys were housed together, and at times were able to, like, watch each other's testimonies.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that cannot, like, how can she not get, or, like, anyway.
Dude, if I was on the jury for, like, the OJ trial, I would be taking voice memos.
But the thing is, you get kicked off the jury for that kind of stuff.
I don't know.
And they have to
I would
replace
just
you.
keep it. I wouldn't be, like, sending it to anybody.
But, I mean, they find out, though.
I don't know. I'd write a book afterwards. After it's done, I'd be like, I was on the jury.
You can't. It's illegal.
You can't after it's done?
Oh, my God. Yeah, it's so illegal to talk about, like, stuff that when you were in a jury.
That's so dumb.
Yeah.
Everybody else can talk about it when it's done, but you can't?
Yeah. Well, I guess the juries a lot of times get, like, even more information, and it's not supposed to be, like, public. I don't know. I don't really know. Anyway, so.
Don't arrest me.
I mean, you know this now. I was going to ask you, do you think she gets convicted? But you saw the video. So everything against her is circumstantial, but she is found guilty of conspiracy to commit murder, witness tampering, and accomplice to first-degree murder with a life sentence without possibility of parole, even though she didn't, like, kill anybody physically. And
yeah, but I mean, like, hiring an underage boy as a hitman that you're also fucking, I feel like you kind of deserve that. I mean, like, I don't know. The prison system is obviously flawed, but.
Well, yeah. So
but
in
you know
1992, Billy Flynn is sentenced to life in prison for second-degree murder, parole possible in 40 years, with the 12 years of minimum sentence deferred if he maintains good behavior. And he was granted parole in May 2015 and released from prison just 20 days after the 25th anniversary of the murder. So he's out now, and he's been married. Yeah, I'm talking about Billy Flynn.
Oh. When did we transfer to Billy Flynn? My brain did not catch that. I thought we were still
I was just talking about him the whole time. Once I started going back into it, I've been talking about Billy Flynn.
I thought the woman went to jail.
Yeah, I said she went to jail without possibility of parole. We talked about that. And then I went back into the story, and I was talking about...
Oh, my God. Okay. I don't know. I don't know where my brain just went. I don't know.
So I'll say it again. In 1992, Billy Flynn was sentenced to life in prison for second-degree murder, parole possible in 40 years.
Okay, heard.
With 12 years of the minimum sentence deferred if he maintains good behavior.
Heard.
And he was granted that in May 2015, 25 days, or just days after the 25th anniversary of Greg's murder.
Did he go to a different type of prison because he was 16? Or did he just go to regular prison?
It looks like he just went to regular prison.
That must be so scary.
Well, I think he might have been 18 by the time he was actually, like, went.
Oh. Still scary.
I don't know if that's true or not.
But I don't know.
Anyway, so he's out now, and he's actually been married since 2016. Vance, another one of the guys, was paroled years before that in 2005, and Pete was paroled just after Billy in June 2015. So all of the boys that killed him are out of prison. But Pamela Smart is still in prison, life without possibility of parole, constantly rejected appeal hearings, while Greg's murderers are all free. And Pam maintains her innocence to this day as well. I actually cut this down. This was like way longer. I just wrote that down. No, I don't know why. So she's still in prison, right? She was transferred from the New Hampshire prison that she was put in 1993. And they sent her to Bedford Hills Correctional Facility for Women in New York. The official reason why was for security reasons, but Smart says New Hampshire wanted to sweep me under the rug, and like they just didn't want her, basically, and make it more difficult for her family and attorneys to like get to her for visits. That's why she thinks they moved her. So Smart also has suggested that her former home state is being unfair to her because inmates with similar sentences are imprisoned in New Hampshire. A prison spokeswoman like wouldn't comment on it when they asked her to comment on that. Like they wouldn't say what their reason was for transferring her.
Sounds sketchy to me.
Yeah. And Smart is one of only 4 female New Hampshire prisoners incarcerated outside of the state.
Oh.
Yeah.
Were the other ones really bad crimes, or?
I don't know.
Oh, I wonder. Comment if you know.
Okay, comment down below. Within a few years of Smart's transfer to Bedford Hills, her eye socket was fractured in an attack by 2 fellow inmates. She had to have a plastic plate surgically implanted, and she has also like lost feeling on that side of her face.
Fuck, dude.
In the New Hampshire prison, Smart says that she'd be able to wear her wedding ring, but when she came to Bedford, that they don't allow it because it has a diamond setting. And so she gave it to her mom to hold on for her. And it says, at that moment, 3 years after her husband's murder, the ring meant something to her, something she wanted to keep, and it still does. So, she's like really sad that she can't wear it, basically. She says, why wouldn't I? I mean, I'm still married, even though it was,
Well,
yeah. So in 2003, she actually earned a master's in English literature. It was her, and I think it's her second master's after she earned a master's of science in law from Southern California University for professional studies. So she's now working also. Okay, she's now working on a doctorate in ministry now.
okay.
So, okay.
All right.
She's done a chunk of jailhouse interviews, the most recent being in January 2020.
Oh, right before.
When she was rejected once again for another parole hearing. She's, again, like I said, always maintains her innocence and is begging to be paroled to this day. But she's worried that the only way that they'll ever let her out is if Billy Flynn comes forward and admits that it wasn't her idea. And I think she's right. That I don't think they'll like see her for parole, which sucks.
That does suck.
Yeah. She confirmed that she will never say that she told the teen boys to kill her husband. Smart believes the trial coverage and subsequent books, movies, and documentaries have made her into a caricature, so people won't even like care about what really happened. They just like saw this movie and they're like the Nicole Kidman movie, and they're like, that's exactly what happened, even though it's like very loosely based and like not even what happened at all.
Yeah.
And so she gets like a lot of hate, and people like think she's like this huge sociopath, and I don't know, maybe she is, but like, you know what I mean? It's just like this whole thing. And also, I forgot to say this earlier, but with the trial being televised like that, I guess this is going to come up in a second, actually. The case has been picked up by a lot of like feminist groups, believing that she should definitely have been able to like at least have a hearing for parole at this point. Especially being that like she didn't have, you know, like her her sentences were like way worse than the boys, even though like what they did was like heavier. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like her time was longer, but their sentences were heavier. I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying.
So Pam herself says it was obvious from the get-go how differently she was treated by the cops, the press. Whenever she would go into court, it was always about her outfit and her hair, and if that was like the proper way to look for a woman on trial. And of course, they never said anything about the boys like looking any type of way. But like it would literally be news stories about like what she wore to court.
That's annoying.
Also, they were having like a movie night in prison one night, and they showed the Nicole Kidman movie, and she didn't even know about it, you know. And as she was watching it, she was like, Jesus Christ, like people think that this is exactly what happened, you know, like that's when she had that whole like, yeah. And she didn't even know that's what was about to be in front of her, you know. That's crazy.
That's so wild, dude.
So along with other people who have like written on her behalf, like to the state, are Gloria Steinem, the Vagina Monologues playwrights Eve Ensler and Kate Millett. I think that's right. And also, Kate Millett also wrote Sexual Politics. And I think the way this is written is confusing, but I think Kate visited her in prison before she passed away recently, and right before then she said she strongly proclaimed that Pam was innocent.
Wow.
Their urgings are included in a 695-page legal filing that asks New Hampshire's Republican governor to commute her sentence and make her eligible for parole. The state attorney general's office is fighting the request, which has been slowed by procedural requirements saying that she's not deserving of mercy or compassion, like they don't care, basically. Smart places the blame for her crimes and her current predicament everywhere but where it belongs, squarely on herself, is what like the state said about it. So
interesting.
So that's that. Here's some more pictures. I like forgot that I had them. This is her on trial. This is like what people would be like, this is what she wore today in court. These are the boys on trial.
Wow.
This is mullets. Him when he got out of prison.
Oh, wow. Old man now.
Yeah, old man now. Not even that old, though.
Mustache.
And this is her now. This is her like in 2020 in the middle. But everything else is like different jailhouse interviews throughout the years.
That's really interesting.
Yeah. It's really interesting because it's like, do you think that, I think that she should at least get the chance for a hearing.
Yeah, I don't know. It's been a while. You know, it's been a long time.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And I really think they bring up the whole heavy metal thing as like a...
Yeah, I mean, there were some things that she did wrong.
Oh, yeah. I'm not saying that, like, there wasn't some wrong shit happening there.
Yeah.
There definitely was.
Yeah, literally.
But, like, it's just the fact that if those three boys were also all still locked up, I probably would not feel this way. But I feel like she should at least get the chance.
If they, Yeah, I don't know.
And especially just with the state being super weird about it and, like, transferring her far away from her lawyers and, like, all that kind of stuff.
That is very strange.
Just seems really, you know, sketchy.
I wonder how the musical, right?
Yeah.
Is it... I guess I'm just wondering, like, do people want to see a musical about a woman who fucks a 16-year-old boy?
Well, the musical is a little more in the Nicole Kidman movie vein. But, I mean, yeah, that happens.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you know, the people in it are all of age. But,
yeah, yeah.
I think it was...
but, yeah.
Oh, I don't remember who plays the boy in it. But, Ali Stroker is also in that musical.
I don't know.
The Wheelchair Glee Project. Ali, she just won a Tony for Oklahoma.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she's awesome.
I was
plays
literally
like the friend in it.
dude. I was thinking about that production of Oklahoma just the other day. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
I hate revivals, but that one, it kind of went off a little bit. Like
did go off.
It was kind of really cool.
Yeah, she was so good too.
Yeah,
I love her a lot.
I kind of really enjoyed it. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what.
Yeah, I don't know. It is in the musical. I mean, it actually it was supposed to go off Broadway, and it never did. Jane Krasowski.
Who?
I don't know. Krakowski.
Krakowski?
Jane Krakowski.
Oh,
she's in this
yeah.
woman.
Yeah.
She was supposed to play the Mrs. Sharp, and they just never. It just never happened.
I like her.
Yeah, she was in like 30 Rock, Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, all that.
I liked her and She Loves Me.
Yeah. She's been in
She did a
quite
good
a few
job.
musicals.
Yeah.
There is a video of oh damn, I'm so good with names usually. What's her name? Megan Hilty singing the song that I was talking about earlier, Out of My Mind. That is in my audition book. Nobody take it.
That's so funny.
It's really good. It's the musical definitely has her be more like evil and diabolical and like there's no doubt that she's evil, kind of a thing. So they don't try to like make her look like a good person or anything. Like I kind of made a little tiny bit of a case for her. I don't think she's a good person, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. We all have our biases.
Yeah.
In our writing, I guess.
But yeah, they definitely don't try to make her look like a good person in the musical. But the song is about like the moment of her like deciding to kill her husband. Yeah. It's a really good song, and Megan Hilty literally murders it. So watch it, but don't steal it.
But don't steal it. That's so funny.
I went through a lot of work to get that music.
I recommended my go-to monologue one time to somebody, and I've never been able to do it in class again because they do it every time. So I will never share a monologue with somebody ever again. I'll say it.
I will say it's a song that I can kind of barely use because it's so specific.
Yeah.
So it's not that big of a deal for me. And also I'm not in school anymore, but
yeah. But I mean, I don't know. We're going to be going for the same auditions when we leave school too. So
that is true. But it's a super weird song. But listen,
I'm talking about my monologue. I'm not talking about your song.
Oh.
I'm sure you sound really good doing it though.
Thanks.
I love your singing voice.
Thank you.
It's really good.
I love your everything.
What?
Thanks for listening to me talking about murders. I know you don't like it.
No, I think it's interesting.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. I
Silly
do.
goose.
Silly goose. Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I know we already made that joke. It's just so funny. Guys, get on TikTok if you're not.
And follow us at You're Kidding
Podcast on TikTok and Twitter, but at You're Kidding Pod on Instagram.
Yup.
But if that's not correct, just go to our link tree. linktr.ee/you're kidding.
Yup.
And check, because sometimes my phone will autocorrect EE to we. So just make sure that's correct.
Yeah. EE.
Yes, so thanks for coming. We have some more guests coming soon. That's gonna be fun.
Mm-hmm.
So you're
kidding. You're kidding. You're kidding.
I feel like it might have been really long.
Let me check.